Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. We're gonna be checking out a video titled What Europeans Think About America Now in 2025. Obviously, 2025 brings a very huge and dramatic change, and that is a new president for the United States. So the feelings towards the United States can easily be a little bit more intense at the moment, honestly, simply because there's a new president in the United States. However, we're gonna be checking out this video, and it's coming from Nathaniel Drew, and he's a YouTuber, obviously, and a pretty great one. And he's asking Europeans this question, so you guys can let me know how y'all feel about the United States right now. I imagine you guys don't feel much different in regards to certain things, like how you felt about Donald Trump, whether you were for or against him, because he was the president previously before Joe Biden was. So it's not his first term. So I'd imagine you have an impression of him already, whether good or bad. So let me know what y'all think in the comment section down below. And thank you for watching. Link for the original video will be in the description, so you guys can go check out the original channel, Nathaniel Drew, and show some love over there. Thank you for watching. Please do like and subscribe. And yeah, without further ado, let's find out what these Europeans think of the United States in 2025.
American politics kind of feel like a South Park episode right now, in my opinion.
It's concerning what's happening.
The connection between Russia and the USA, which is ridiculous.
I should have seen this coming. I mean, just walking up to random people and asking them about politics, how did I think that was going to go well?
Politics are mostly losers. They all never finish their studies. History repeating itself.
Fuck Trump. He told the bullshit.
Fuck Trump, fuck America. How do you feel about Trump?
I'm afraid.
I don't understand him.
Honestly, I don't even think Donald Trump is that hard to understand. But having fear of Donald Trump is not a negative thing, because, I mean, he does have the buttons and the voice to do things that might not be in line with a lot of people's opinions. So fearing him and the position that he holds is valid. However, I think he's pretty understandable. I think so. I think so. I really do believe that he is based on simply ego, and that's really all that it is. And wherever and however he can have his success, he's gonna go towards that route. It's as simple as that. That's what I think. You guys can let me know what you think about him, if you understand him, or, you know, if we differ.
It feels like we're living in a very different moment in history, even compared to just a few years ago. My feeling is that we're on a high-speed train right now into the future, and yet we're not there yet. We're kind of actually seeing it happen in real time. Maybe that's why all of the developments that happen in today's world feel so important and consequential. And maybe with the exception of the early months of the pandemic, I don't think I've ever felt like I'm in the pages of a history book as it's being written as much as I do right now. A couple of years ago, I did a video called Why Do Europeans Dislike Americans So Much?, exploring how the image of the United States has changed quite a bit around the world since the advent of the internet.
I think it's a third world country with a lot of money.
I think they're a bit stupid.
Well, a lot has happened since then.
I told you before, I'm happy to play golf if you carry your own bag.
Stupid president. European Union, they rip us off. It's so sad to see.
I don't think we've seen a shift in the world order like we're witnessing right now in my lifetime. I like to playfully explore and compare the differences between the old world and the new world in the West. But the reality is that over the last 80 years, Europe and the United States have been tightly knit. I'm talking about the portion of Europe that did not belong to the USSR, but then after the fall of the Berlin Wall, this only expanded to include more Eastern European countries. And now, in 2025, the current US administration is telling the world this is coming to an end.
Tariffs is the most beautiful word to me in the dictionary.
We're going to focus on ourselves. We're not going to play nice, even if we were allies in the past. And we don't care what you think of us. This is obviously a very big shift. And to piece this together, to make sense of this, I thought I'd ask the Europeans how they felt. So I spent a little bit of time in a small Bavarian town, as well as here in Vienna. The whole kind of America first thing that's happening in the US, do you think that's bad for Europe?
It's bad for America as well. If you isolate your country, you're fucked.
At the moment, it kind of looks like
We don't need nothing else. I could end the video right here. He said it, and that is exactly the truth. Nothing else means shit. Isolation is not good. For crying out loud, the United States is over there. Okay? I don't know how I can make this make any more sense. If the world is isolated from the United States, or the United States, I should say, is isolated from the world, it's not going to be good for the United States. The United States is strong, and it has intel on a lot of different things simply because of its connection with other different countries. If that is gone, the United States is literally going to be Canada, Mexico, and that's it, right? That's the only intel you're going to get because there's no other country close by. If you guys get what I'm trying to say, right? So simply put, how do you prevent an attack on your country if you don't have connections with the countries beside the countries that are likely to be of threat to you? It's not very smart. However, I really like that guy's point. It was just straightforward and quite direct. And I absolutely agree. I don't think it's a very good thing. I'm not saying you shouldn't put your country first. Don't get it twisted now. However, putting your country first and cutting off other countries who are trying to beef with your allies over petty things it's not gonna give a very good end result, in my opinion.
like America's just concerned about themselves.
It's a disastrous change in the connection between the United States and Europe, especially in Germany as well. Horrible, really horrible. Only because of this horrible guy.
It's a global world. It's you can't go back to, I don't know, Pittsburgh Steel or whatever. This time's gone, and it's pretty much the same. Germans oftentimes complain, oh, we're paying all the shit in Europe, and Europe is on our shoulders. No, it's bullshit. Without Europe, German economy wouldn't be as strong as it is and as it has been throughout the past 30, 40, 50 years.
Some questions?
What is this about? I mean, what is the whole...
I'm exploring the evolving relationship between Europe and the US.
Gotcha. Evolving?
Like
You think it's
evolving. I think things are changing. Do you don't think things are changing?
Evolving like in the right way or in the wrong way?
Well, that's up to you.
Okay. So we're testing the waters. Wait, hold on. I gotta take this. I'm sorry.
Go for it.
That is so American. That's so funny. How do you see Europeans reacting to Trump, like winning?
To Trump?
Yeah.
That's so interesting you asked that, right? Because like as soon as we say we're Americans, right? That's like a lot of people's first questions.
Yeah.
A lot of Europeans, they'd say if we were American citizens, we probably would have voted for Trump.
Really?
Yeah. Obviously, there's been a few
What?
people who disagree with his policy.
Right,
I feel like it's not very European. But we've also had a lot of people, like good amount, say like they like a lot of his policies.
I don't know, man. I do believe that there's a lot of Europeans who likes his policies. However, most of those Europeans like a drop of his policies, not the entire policy. And I can prove that for a fact, because 9 out of 10 Europeans do not want to see the United States leave NATO. That's a part of his policy. That's something that he's actually strongly he criticized the heck out of NATO in the past, right? Because of the spending and so on and so forth, which in reality, he has a point that other European countries has to contribute. It can't just be the top European countries that are in NATO that are paying bills, obviously. But I personally believe that in reality, there's a lot of people who agree with Donald Trump's policies, but he has multiple policies, and I think a lot of people, because we all know that there are many people who are religious, we all know that there are many people who are financial, and so many anti-immigration, we know that. And that's just the truth. A lot of people are going to root for him because of those policies, but he also has other policies, right? And I remember I spoke to a friend of mine in the United States, and she said that to me back before he became president. She was like, well, not because he has one thing that you like means that you must ignore the other things that are bad, right? And that really stood with me forever, because I look at things in a different way now. I don't just look at what I like. I look at the disadvantage before I look at the advantage of what someone has to offer, if that makes any sense.
People vote him, yes, and therefore something must be here that they can vote him, yes. And
Right.
I don't think that all Americans are stupid.
I can understand that the Trump says America first. We have to look for this country, but it's so extreme.
It's crazy, but there are some points I can agree with him, yes.
Right.
I like Trump.
You do?
Yeah, I do. I don't like him on a personal level. I think personally, he's not the greatest human being maybe, but he's a good president.
What do you think makes him a good president?
He's good for the economy, and he's good for the average American, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't know. He promises a lot of things. He fails to make most of them true. But I guess he has good intentions most of the time, so yeah, I guess it's okay.
Can go both ways, because we were so dependent on the US and it was a pretty tight relationship, and probably German politicians in Europe trusted too much on this relationship and were too much on the back of the US. And I think Europe has now the chance, maybe with this wake-up call, how Trump is behaving and how Trump is doing this America first, to strengthen the European Union as its own and not make you dependent from other superpowers.
Like I mentioned before, we have seen an unusually prosperous 80 years, especially in the West. And this isn't to gloss over the atrocities and disasters that have happened over the last century, but, you know, for most of our parents or our grandparents, they expected life to get better as they got older. And a lot of that lends itself to how the West organized itself. And then the first major cracks appeared, at least in my mind, in 2016, the year of the Brexit vote, as well as the year that Trump first became president. And I'm not saying any of this stuff is good or bad. I'll get to that a little bit more later on in this video, but I'm just saying that clearly there's a huge appetite for change. People want new rules, so we're gonna have new rules.
I think that, you know, Trump is very America first, right? And I think a lot of Europeans feel that they'll lose support in certain ways, like on a global scale. So maybe that's why, but also, you know, a lot of European countries are more social-based healthcare systems and things like that, which is different from a lot of Trump's policies.
Right. What are some of the things in America you don't understand?
There's a health system.
Right.
Why didn't they have a better social system? Why didn't they do with all the...
Ironically, that stems back to slavery, no offense. But the saddest part about a lot of negative things in the United States, it's because of slavery. The segregation that took place in the United States created laws like these. And because those things ended, these laws still remain, and they are actually systematic. So they're so deeply rooted in the system. However, not every person who is considered white is going to be privileged, live in a privileged life where they can pay out of pocket for that, right? So that was the case. It's that simple. You can actually do the research. It's facts. So it's quite unfortunate, but that is the reason why it's like that. But do I think it should be changed? Yeah. It doesn't have to be changed dramatically, but it should be changed in some way, but it's not going to change because it's profitable the way it is.
Money they put into war. And you know, our social system is also not the best, because there are a lot of people who just live from the social system and from nothing else. So it's also not good.
It just feels kind of like it's different this second time around.
It is different. It is different. I feel like, you know, especially with him coming back, he's been taking the last 4 years when Biden was president. He's been figuring things out. You know, he's been moving quick. Yeah, it's been a few months. You know, he's obviously everything he does makes the news. Also, it's super interesting to see how much of American politics are, you know, broadcasted here in Europe.
I know, yeah.
Like, I feel like I'm not out of the mix at all, because
Facts.
a lot of Europeans talk about American politics.
They're kind of looking at us like, you know, like a weird time for everybody. The general vibe is woof. If you go on the subways, you'll see they're posting American news on the walls.
So you're Ukrainian?
Ukrainian, yes.
And
From the Kiev, yes. Fuck Trump. He told the bullshit about the Putin and about the Zelensky is dictator.
Forse la cosa che spaventa di più è il potere che ha Elon Musk.
Più di Trump?
Forse quasi allo stesso livello che ha Elon Musk.
Più di Trump.
Forse la cosa che spaventa di più è il potere che ha Elon Musk.
Più di Trump.
Forse quasi allo stesso livello.
Ah, Elon.
Smart boys.
Elon. Like I said, the current...
Yeah, it breaks my heart. It really breaks my heart, honestly. I had so much respect for Elon. Like, when he first launched Tesla, you know, the car, Tesla Model 3, I was a huge fan, dog. But the weird stuff, man, I just can't. I can't turn a blind eye to it, you know. I'm all about, like, this world is created for everyone. You know, even if you believe that people are less than you, or you believe that, hey, I'm a superior race or I'm a superior person, the world was created for everyone, right? So the most you can possibly do is to segregate yourself. I'm gonna respect it. You segregate yourself, but you can't really, you know, speak down on other people. It shouldn't be that way, man. Like, if you don't like something, you just leave it alone. You go somewhere else. You know what I mean? But you know, he's quite interesting. That's all I'm gonna say. And the combination, both of them, very unique pair. That's yeah, tough.
U.S. administration is very focused on this America First message. We're gonna end wars, we're gonna withdraw, etc. This is all getting cheerled by many of America's businesses and billionaires who curry favor by presenting the president with gifts for a long time now. Maybe since forever, I don't know. American politics are awash with money. What I find kind of funny about this America First messaging is that it's sort of selective, right? Because American politicians are actually staying remarkably involved in things happening around the world. I'm talking about Trump wanting to take Greenland, which belongs to the Kingdom of Denmark, or the Panama Canal, which belongs to Panama, or Canada, which belongs to Canada. But another example that I wanted to investigate a little more closely was Elon's endorsement of AfD, a conservative party in Germany, which has been often associated with the Nazis. This is something that they deny, but they do use language and slogans that were associated with the Nazis. FPÖ, the Freedom Party of Austria, is very similar. And while I'm not well versed in Austrian or German politics, it was quite eye-opening to see how sketched out Austrians and Germans were about this. All right, we're gonna try getting some opinions on Elon Musk. What do you think about Elon Musk?
Yeah, Elon Musk is not. Elon Musk is not good.
Not good.
Not good.
I think he should leave the politics.
How did you feel about Elon Musk getting involved in...
It broke my heart, brother. Ah, man, like, it broke my heart so bad. So bad.
European politics.
Yeah, that's horrible. There's nothing positive in it.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Cosa pensate di Elon Musk?
Rivoluzionario, genio, filantropo, miliardario. È così, ragazzi. Elon Musk is the best.
How do you think Elon Musk is influencing the image of America abroad?
That's a very interesting question.
Can't understand how far a person like this can get. How
Elon or Trump?
Both.
I don't like him.
I mean, I think I'm lost for words how you can behave like that. Maybe a lot of what is happening in the US is a bit too similar to what happened in Germany a long time ago. You try to silence voices and it never comes like fast and with a bang, but it's kind of, and I think this is sometimes what Germans are worried about, is that you kind of know that the fascism is mostly coming silently. Hitler didn't do it from the first day. Maybe the idea is not bad to say, hey, we have to look at efficiency, and maybe he did it when he had a sane mind, but he's not doing for the sake of the people, or for the state is doing of the sake of more power for a few people.
Obviously, I don't like the developments in the US right now so much, and it scares me, I guess. But it's also super weird to me. I read the news in the morning and I'm like, what the what? Well, how? In the US especially, I'm concerned about how easy it is for people that have a lot of money and power to just change things like this. They just go in and, I don't know, fire people. They just change things. Names of places, they change rules, they change laws. I think the one thing that I kind of hold on to is that there was already a time where Trump was president, and I kind of feel like we survived it. But also, I'm not personally affected, I guess, by the things that change. Also, I'm very privileged. And for me, it's not necessarily such bad news than for other people that are discriminated against.
So are you concerned about the future because of what's happening?
It will be bad for the whole world, the environment and the poor people.
I feel sometimes we get so focused on who the bad guy is that we lose sight of the real problem, the bigger problem. The bigger problem being the system. How do we end up with people like this? I'm talking about the two-party system in the United States. And before I get accused of picking a team here, that's exactly what I want to avoid. I think our tendency as human beings to pick a team, to pick a tribe, and to demonize the others is really holding us back. It's really adding fuel to the fire here. It does feel like it's impossible to have any kind of really...
It's really the truth, because when you end up in a situation where you're picking a side rather than trying to do the right thing, what you end up with is, okay, that one is not too bad. He's a little bit more extreme. I'll go with him, right? Like, it doesn't make any sense. It's like, you know, you go into the grocery store and you have a choice of two fruits, right? And both fruits are, you know, quite weird looking. And you, okay, this one doesn't look too bad, right? But you should be having an opportunity to select exactly what you want, right? As a country, you should be able to decide all these things. It's that simple. And things would be a lot easier, right? But Switzerland, their political system. If you've never researched about it, I've done videos about Switzerland and their political system. It's beautiful. They're a perfect example of what a great political system would look like. Check them out.
Really productive conversations about how we solve the problems that we face today collectively if we keep doing this. What I dislike about this system, this setup, is that the two sides are just egging each other on. And so they push each other, or really they pull each other to go further and further in each respective direction. What do you think about the two-party system in the United States?
Well, it's quite okay, but now it's not a two-party system because we have no balance of power anymore. The worst is Trump against judges and against the press. Very, very, very bad, because that's the beginning of being a dictator. That has been as well in Germany at the beginning of the Hitler time. It's the same style of problems you have in America now, and we had in 1933.
So you prefer the system in Germany now, with multiple different parties?
Yeah, because then a lot of people with different minds can come together, and not only one opinion and one direction. In America, I think there are two blocks against each other, which are enemies.
I land in different places on different issues. You know, I'm a little more conservative on certain things, a little more progressive on others. And it kind of sucks to feel like you have to pick all of your opinions based off of what team you're in.
In America, I feel like that the two parties kind of cover the political needs of the...
I don't know if I agree with you on that. I feel like I'm always having to pick between two options I don't like.
It's the same for us.
You know, in Austria, we would say it's the pest or the cholera.
You know, 5 years ago, you couldn't go anywhere without the words diversity and inclusion being thrown around all over the place, right? And now the pendulum has swung, and you can't even use the word gender anymore. Big companies in the United States have hired Trump task forces so that they make sure that they comply with all the new executive orders and don't use the wrong language when they do reporting. Right now, the Democrats are in shambles, but we're already seeing signs of them mounting a comeback fight. And it might take several years, but I fully suspect that once they figure out a way to punch back, they're going to go full force, and then the country's going to swing in a whole new direction. That's what I think is going to happen. It's unfortunate because I think there's valid points on both sides. There really are. There's a basis of truth, but it just gets twisted and distorted so much. Of course.
It's as simple as this. Like, if you guys remember earlier, immigration, I mentioned about it. Some people agree about it. The thing is, there's issue with immigration. Of course, there's issues with everything, but there's a positive and there's a negative to every single situation, right? However, there are some people who hate a thing, and they use the negative in that situation to justify the hate that they have for something. The woman gave a perfect example earlier. I'm not sure who she is, but she was in the house with the guy. She was Austrian, right? And she said that some people live off of the social system. That is very true, right? In the United States, you are more independent, right? You don't rely on anything because there's not much handouts, right? However, in European countries, you might have handouts, and that's the negative, right? However, does it mean that the social system should be gone? No, it just means that it needs to be altered in a way that you cannot benefit off of it without being needed, right? So if you don't need it, you're not supposed to get it. It's that simple, right? So that's just the truth of, this whole political system shit. It's just, the laws just don't make any sense, if that makes any sense.
But I think the two-party system as a whole is kind of bad. Too little diversity.
Like they're using their power and money to do something that's not good for humanity.
And I think, like in general, like of course we're observing it as different continents or countries, but I think we all have to, especially young people, like keep the bigger picture in mind.
Now, I'd love to say that Europe has this more figured out than us Americans, but I really am not convinced of that. France is currently a mess. Its centrist president is deeply hated. The most popular guy on the left is a total clown. The most popular woman on the right just got charged with embezzlement and can't even run for presidency the next time around. It's just a mess. Germany's coalition government that it tried to make work for the longest time didn't, and so it had to do another election, and that's actually unbelievably common, by the way. I think it's fair to say that the UK has had a really rough go since Brexit. Believe it or not, Belgium at one point went 652 days without a functioning federal government. Portugal's government just recently collapsed. And since the end of World War II, Italy has had 69 different governments, which means there's a new government every 1.11 years on average. It would seem democracy is quite messy.
Do you feel optimistic or concerned about the future for Europe?
Very tough question. The reality is that most people don't know what's going on, neither do I, and in politics. And so if you talk about it, it's just, it doesn't change really anything.
Right. Like you've lost friends over politics?
A ton of time. Like,
really?
Yeah.
Turns out politicians kind of suck everywhere. This is not just an American problem, I think. This is a human problem. It does feel to me like the US and Europe have been in a kind of marriage of sorts over the last 80 years, and there have been great moments in this marriage, some less great moments, and it's unclear if this marriage is going to continue. At the very least, the rules are changing. But this is how it goes, right? Change is the only constant. Humans want things to stay the same forever, and they don't. They just can't. I think there's a massive amount of disruption happening around the world that a lot of politicians are capitalizing on. It's not clear what the best answer is, what the best approach is. This is why I'm making this video series, to piece things together, to make sense of things. And this, by the way, is episode 3, so if you want to check out the first 2 episodes, I'll leave links to them in the description below. There is a lot more to come. I'm very excited. So if you're interested in knowing when new episodes come out, consider subscribing. And if you enjoyed watching this, consider hitting the like button.
Shout out to Drew, man. Nathaniel Drew, shout out to him. He's making a really great video. Doing this is a very great video just to understand the perspective, because like I said, I think Swiss politics is pretty good. That's my humble opinion. You guys can let me know what y'all think after doing some research. I'd imagine Swiss politics is still not perfect, but the closer you are to perfection is the better you are, in my humble opinion. Nothing is really perfect, but there's a line that you can follow, and that line is better if it's closer to perfection rather than further away. So I do love the United States politics, but that love is dying out because it's changing dramatically. The respect has been lost for each size of the political system, and it's just like on and off switch right now. There's no constant where we can agree upon anything, and that's what makes me wonder, is this America first, or my agendas first, or what I feel first, if that makes any sense. Because I can run around and say America first, but is it really America first if I'm just instilling things that benefits only a certain people? Exactly my point. So thank you guys for watching this video. Shout out to Nathaniel. Link will be in the description for his video. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. I'm out of here. Peace.